Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of VAFA Tragics. Great to have your company for another week. I'm joined at the desk, as I always am, by Nick Armistead on early in the week. We don't say what night we record on, but we record earlier in the week and it's out. What time we publish?
Tuesday night we try to, Wednesday morning sometimes.
How was your weekend?
Yeah, good. I was out at Fitzroy on the weekend, so I know we'll talk about that later, but no, great weekend.
Well, tell us about your highlight from the week, because I've got a couple, so there's quite a bit to get through.
Well, being out at Fitzroy, we know that they play their song on the way out as the boys run out of their beautiful Brunswick Street Oval grandstand. But when they're coming in, playing it again, have it blaring from the speakers, as you can see on the screen, the crowds all mill around, clapping the boys and the umpires as they come through. That was my highlight. I thought that was absolutely fantastic after they had a great win against Williamstown in their top of the table clash.
So what you're saying is we need VAFA clubs to go out and record their songs and have them playing over the PA systems.
100%. Apparently South Melbourne districts do it also, and I'm sure there will be one or two other clubs who do it, but we want to see footage of that.
Let us know if you've got your song playing at your ground, because we'd like to see it. I've got a couple for you. Obviously, the Follicle's doing some great work for us as our roving reporter in the Dim Sim Gate saga that's going on. We got the big tick of approval from St Bernard's, which is great to see. He sent us a tweet over the weekend and keeps sending them through. So he's covering Premier B, but he can only go so far. I've had reliable texts that Old Scotch have got $2 South Melbourne Dim Sims, which is good, but I'm just looking at the standard Dim Sims. So you were at Fitzroy on the weekend. Did they have dim sims?
They didn't have dim sims. So I've lined up, I've asked. They do not sell dim sims at Fitzroy. So
this is one of the things that I think we'll have to expose as well. Yeah. Clubs that decide not to sell dim sims. So what did you have?
Well, I wanted their burger. I was told to get on their burger, but they'd sold out by half time, which is a fantastic, I guess, for them. Yep. Not so much for me. So I was stuck with a sausage. Great sausage. I mean, the bread to sausage ratio was a bit off. It was a bit too much bread. It was like a hot dog bun.
I understand what you mean. Bread ratio is really important in sausage.
It is.
Sausages and bread. And if you've got too much bread, it's not enjoyable.
It sort of ruins it.
Yeah, it definitely does. So, a bit of work to do there by the sounds of things for Fitzroy Canteen, even though they're doing a great job with their song and things like that. My absolute highlight of the week, though, and you're not going to believe this, Nick. I was walking down Collins Street last Friday afternoon, and someone stops me in the street. I hear, excuse me, mate. I'm like, yep, what is it? And I turn around and goes, excuse me, are you Andrew Leonard from the Tragics?
And I did not. From the Tragics.
From the Tragics. I'm a little bit worried at this point, going, how does this guy know me? He's a British guy. Here he is, his photos on screen. Rakifi Alsoy, or Osoy. I'm sorry if I don't pronounce that right, Rakifi. But massive fan. He's from the UK. He's moved out. He's been out here for 2 months, here with his family. Discovered footy in Australia about 5 years ago when he was out watching Old Brighton or something down there that way. So knew about the VAFA, jumped on, loves the VAFA Tragics show, reckons it's the best footy show on TV. So big shout to Ricky.
Gone international.
Former rugby player, he is looking for a club.
So he's not actually with the club. He's just
not with the club yet. Just a fan of the show. Just watches every week.
That's a glowing endorsement if I've ever heard.
It's a massive glow. It was unbelievable. Right, enough self-indulgent stuff. Let's get on to the footy. William Buck Premier in both the men's and the women's saw a couple of draws over the weekend. Let's start first with the men's, because we'll chat with Lucy Lekic when she joins us to talk about the women's. But Uni Blues and Old Trinity.
Fantastic game. Uni Blues would have thought at three-quarter time we're right here for our third win of the season. They were 27 points up, but the Tees of that, as they do, they came hard in the fourth term with 6 goals, 2-2. Now, there were a couple of decisions made late in the game. The first being when Marshall Rippon has tried to kick out of defence at the 27-minute mark when scores were tied, and the ball has actually gone out on the full, swung back in and landed about 2 feet back in the boundary.
So it was out of bounds on the full?
So it was out of bounds on the full because the full ball had gone. And you can't actually see it from the footage, so that's why people were asking questions. And then they went on and Anthony Scott kicked a fantastic crumbing goal. Went back to the other end a minute later. Mark James takes the mark, gets a 25-metre penalty, goes back. Everyone closes their eyes from Blues, but he slots it. A minute to go, a draw, a fantastic comeback from Tees, but both sides would be disappointed that they didn't come away with a win.
We'll get on to the draw in a second. De La Salle, Old Scotch. Old Scotch charged home, which was great to see. They couldn't quite get there in the end. They themselves had a kick to win it. Max Martin, but he's probably a bit too far out looking at this kick.
At the end of the day, tired legs. Paul Max, it was actually fun. Looking at the footage, you see number 20 there. He puts his hands on his head. He turns his back. He doesn't even want to watch it. The Scotch, they're getting so close. 6 of their 7 losses now have been by 15 points or less. So despite the fact going down 7 times, they've been in it and had chances to win arguably 6 of those games.
This actually reminds me of the year old Brighton got relegated. I reckon they had a lot of close losses a few years back and they just couldn't break through for that win. And eventually the dam wall breaks. If they don't get that win soon, the dam wall's just going to break and they'll start losing more games by bigger margins. I'll talk about the other games. George Burbury is going to join us from Collegians, so we'll touch on those. Quickly on to Premier B. Monash Blues had a win on the weekend, which is great to see.
We've been asking for it for 6 weeks now, and that, despite having an average losing margin of 96 points, they would have been down, they would have been out. They've lost 14 players from last year. They got over Old Haileybury on the weekend by 21 points, 9 goals to 5 in the opening half, and followed up with another 7-6 in the second. Nick Woodland was the star with 5 goals, but now it leaves Old Haileybury as the only winless team in Premier B.
Yeah, not good for the Bloods, but thrilled for Monash Blues, particularly given the way they'd lost so many games and by the margins they were losing by. Beaumont's took it right up to Old Kerry, but the Panthers remain undefeated, and St Bernard's beat Uni Blacks quite comfortably in the end out at the Snake Pit. Yeah,
that was a big one, another top 4 clash, but they've got an average winning margin going into the weekend of 99 points at the Snake Pit, so they probably were favourites, and now they move into second place, but that's a big win over another finals fancy.
It's one of these things about these sides in Premier B, we know that the gap's really big, but they tend to win really well on their home decks. It's when it gets to finals and neutral venues that I guess we'll find out a little bit more about each of these sides going in.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll wait till St Bernard's get back to the Uni Oval, where we know the Blacks near on it, impossible to beat.
Premier C, you went to the Fitzroy-Williamstown game. This is a top of the table clash. The Seawise will be disappointed though.
They will be disappointed. Now, they were on top and they were probably still highly fancied despite being at Brunswick Street Oval, but they'd had 5 goals straight kicked on them in the first 15 minutes. They hadn't even had an inside 50 for the first 3 goals, as Fitzroy just came out firing. Now, I've given my best on to the Fitzroy defence, as they just stifled every Williamstown inside 50. They were there to cut it off. But Jack Noonan was the one from Williamstown, a young 18, 19-year-old. He was the one that showed a bit of class for Williamstown. Good
to see St Mary's Salesian responding as well, even though they went down to Old Ivanhoe at Ferndale. It was still a good result, 22-point loss, considering some of the hammerings they've copped in the last few weeks.
Well, 2 straight 140-plus hammerings, and they kicked 107 points themselves, so they're giving away a lot of points, but it was good to see them kick over 100.
Right, that's the wrap from the Premier sections. We're going to take a break, come back. Lucy Leckage to join us at the desk right after this.
Anytime is the right time to get fit at Anytime Fitness. Access over 400 gyms across the country 24/7 and discover why more Australians train at Anytime Fitness than any other gym. Go online and register now for your free 7-day pass and feel something better.
Welcome back to the Tragics. Lucy Leckage joins us at the desk, as she does every week. Luce, how are you?
I'm well, thanks, Lenny. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How'd you go last week?
Yeah, good. Went to Big V training for the first time. It was really good to get down there. Long session. It was quite cold. But a lot of girls turned out.
80 plus girls? How do you train with 80 girls on the track?
Oh, I don't think that many turned up, but...
there were about 65 on the track, but there's 78 in the squad,
yeah. Lots of girls, and I was really impressed by the standard. A lot of girls were really giving it a red-hot go, I thought, and I think it's going to be really tough to pick the squad and narrow it down.
How do you go, like when you're meeting a lot of girls, you don't know that, it's just mate, yes, is that
I'm just friendly to everyone. I say, hi, I'm Lucy, nice to meet you.
But when you're calling for the ball, like...
I say yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And then we try and learn each other's names though, because we figure that's going to be important come.
I reckon if you make the team, absolutely.
Absolutely. Might want to know the names.
We did mention at the top of the show the draw in William Buck Premier between Kew and Melbourne Uni.
Exactly, at Victoria Park. So they were neck and neck for the entirety of the match almost, and at 3/4 time it was 22 apiece and couldn't pick a winner really, and both teams kicked a couple of goals in the final term, and it was a nail-biter, and Tara Donnan for Kew was sensational. 3 goals too. She's always a big target up forward, and Ruby Grounds again for Melbourne Uni starred. She's killing it, absolutely.
Right, any other quick results before we get into your who's going to win? We're at the halfway point. I want to hear who's going to win the flag.
I think after careful deliberation, I think Marcelin's going to win. I'm a Marcelin fangirl now. I think after playing them on the weekend, I got a real taste of their playing style, and they've got so many Big V girls playing as well, and I'm just so impressed. I think they're going to go back to back.
William Buck Premier selection is Marson, best and fairest medal in the top section.
Danny Colordi, I'm so impressed with her also. She's just a gun. She's so fit and quick. You can't really tag her, and she's so eager and hungry to win the ball.
From Kew. Also, should mention Kew. Great to see them in their pride jumpers as well, which we might touch on later on in the show when we show some photos in best use of social media and other things. In Premier B.
Premier B Blue, I think West Brunswick are going to win. They're undefeated thus far, and they're looking the goods to me. And I think Ali Kirkwood for Old Geelong is going to win the best and fairest there. She's been named in the best every single week so far. And in Prem B White, I think that Old Scotch are going to win. It's their first season in the VAFA, and they've been sensational. So I think that they're going to get up and be premiers. And I think the best and fairest will be Indy Tate for Old Brighton. She's had a great season.
Very good. We might get your premiers and selections for the other sections next week, if that's all right.
Yeah, that's fine. Sure thing.
Good luck for training on Wednesday night this week.
Thank you.
Good luck for the fields as well on the weekend. Lucy Lecker's joining us there. Back in a moment with George Burbury. He's going to join us at the desk.
Anytime is the right time to get fit at Anytime Fitness. Access over 400 gyms across the country 24/7 and discover why more Australians train at Anytime Fitness than any other gym. Go online and register now for your free 7-day pass and feel something better.
Welcome back to the Tragics. As I mentioned before the break, we're joined by our very special guest this week, George Burbury from Collegians. Welcome to the desk.
Thanks for having me, fellas.
Thanks for coming on, mate.
No worries.
After a loss, probably not opportune time to get you in.
It's a bad week to be on here, isn't it?
How did it happen? Why do we think we lost to Zaz on the weekend?
Well, they played bloody well. That'd be the first thing. But their home deck, obviously, as we all know with Zaz, they rock up with a fairly big crowd, so they had that for sure. No, other than that,
A couple of injuries, but you know,
yeah, you don't want to
But
use
they were
injuries
early,
as an excuse, but
early
we did. We had Will Johnson went down in the first 30 seconds
Yep.
with a calf strain.
and whether you like it or not, that has an impact these days.
It does, big full forward, and he's popped up and kicked a fair few goals for us in the last few weeks. So that was a big loss. And then we had Ollie Jones, who's a winger flanker. He went down in the first 4 minutes, I think, unfortunately with a shoulder. And then we had Matt Jenkinson and Anthony Brunt, one of our VFL listed
Had a
players.
good
go
start
down.
to the year.
Yeah, he's a gun. He's played about half and half VFL and Collegians, and pretty good for 3 to 5 goals most weeks. So we don't want to use that.
No, they happen though. It's part of the game. So
They do.
You'll learn from it, and you'll be better for it. Tell us how Collegians' first 6 weeks of the year before that. Obviously, some good times, and how have you adapted to life in purple?
Life in purple. Well, I've never really worn purple before, so it's the first time for everything. But it's been good. I obviously spent 2 years down at Old Geelong and had a great time. We won a premiership, and it's where a lot of my best mates are playing their footy and have played their footy. So I've been watching them closely as well. I see they had a big win over Pegs down at the home school. Yep. On the weekend. Keep in touch with them a lot, obviously, and still very close with Nick Burke. Life in purple. Well, we had a big pre-season. Really happy with Shane Joyce. Think he's a great coach, and also Andrew Boudreau. He's our strength and conditioning coach. He's been really good, especially. I'm getting old now, 25, so got to look after my poor old hammies and the like. So.
What was the reason behind the decision of moving from Old Geelong in Prem C to Collegians?
The ultimate and plain and simple decision is I'm 25 and I've got my body right. I've had a couple of really good years playing footy with my mates at Ogs, and whilst I wanted to have a go at playing the highest level of footy that I could, that accommodated with my current life, work and my family. And
did you know that you'd be playing deep forward, that Joyce would throw you down next to Willie J in the goal square?
A little bear in the square.
How you find it?
Yeah, enjoying it. So we've got obviously our core group of midfield is Viva, Hiltz and Hibbo, and Nick Dixon when he's with us. So playing deep forward and working in a rotation with them as they get to be puffed.
Big V squad's been announced.
Yep.
You're obviously part of an unbelievable win last year. Off to Adelaide this year. What are you looking forward to? What are you looking forward to getting together with the guys again?
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to hopefully getting some redemption. That was my first game for the Big V, was against Adelaide at Sandringham 2 years ago now. So I want to win. I really want to win. It was a tough day. It was a wet day. Just one of those ones you'd rather forget on a footy field. But what we've done from that 2016 team is bring together a group of blokes. We built on that again last year. We kept the same core group, and I think Stewie Power mentioned at a meet and greet the other night that we've retained, I think the number was 19 from 22, so that's great. We obviously brought in a few of the guys that went to Ireland, and then a few new faces to the VAFA, either straight out of the AFL system or some VFL converts, which we're really happy with. So I think we're looking at a squad of about 36 now. Obviously, we'll have to cut that down to probably take 24 or 25 to to South Australia and hopefully get the job done.
What's the first thing that you say to a new squad member that comes in that hasn't played Big V before, being a leader and being someone that everyone else looks up to? What's the first bit of advice you give to someone who enters the squad?
Take it seriously is the first bit of advice, because that was probably the key negative factor that I reckon is what got us undone in 2016. And there'll be a few blokes that won't like to hear that, but I think we took it a bit lightly that year, and I think last year in the 2017 campaign and the island trip, the Big V, the jumper and the opportunity was just treated with the utmost respect. That's my number one bit of advice: is take it seriously, speak up, be yourself. It's very daunting. I remember the first time I came to the squad, you're in and amongst some of the best players, if not the best players in the comp. There's some ex-AFL listers, there's VFL listers, there's blokes like Chopper who have played, 15 games for the Big V and probably kicked over 100 goals. So there's some big names you're up in there mixing with, and there's also a massive expectation on you. So the important thing is to take it seriously and be yourself.
How did you find that island trip? Now, obviously, you were skipper over there. It was pretty successful in itself.
Yep.
Bit of fun. Enjoy that?
Yeah, it was amazing. Look, to be honest, I ummed and ahed with the idea of going initially, and it was a phone call with Dennis Simiopoulos. It was a few chats with you, a few chats with Sammy Confate. And then ultimately, I just thought, well, I was 25 at that time. I'll never get that opportunity again. And it was with a core group of guys like Louis Denton, Sam Hibbins, Lockie Dornoff, Jock Grimshaw, Mickey Culliver. I would have never met Mickey Culliver if it wasn't for that trip.
Westbourne Grammarians?
Yeah. It's that opportunity, once in a lifetime trip, and God, we had some fun, didn't we? It was bloody good.
Yes, we did.
Is that where the bromance started with Sammy Hibbins to get you to Collegians?
Nah, it wasn't. My move to Collegians was nothing to do with the island trip. It was well and truly a relationship formed with Courtney Hilton, actually, whilst in South America about a year before that. So.
Quick one from left field for you. Obviously, got the lights there at the Harry Trot.
Mm-hmm.
Do you reckon you'd like to see night footy, or is it not quite there yet?
Well, it's a bit cold.
Yeah, I know it's a bit cold, but
I know I'm a fair weather footballer.
if you start, the seniors, do you reckon you'd like to see some senior footy?
No, I really would. Especially night and or the twilights. I really like the 4 o'clock start.
Yep.
But I think I obviously wasn't there, but I believe last year there was a Collegians versus St Kevin's night game.
Yep.
Is that right? Yeah. And apparently the atmosphere was awesome there. So yeah, massive fan of the night game.
I don't know if you got
not
one
every
scheduled.
week.
You got not one scheduled this year yet, or not sure?
I don't think they do. No.
I don't think so. No.
You've got to get the other club to sign up to. And the other problem is, of course, the volunteers. If you're extending the day and all that sort of stuff. But
actually, funnily enough, the Collegians girls played Old Geelong girls on the weekend. They had a twilight game.
At 4:45 time slot?
Yeah, it would have been under lights. So. Yeah.
Very good. Right now, we're going to get some quick questions for you. I want to see how well you know your teammates in the squad.
In the Big V squad.
In the Big V squad.
Yep.
Yeah, in the Big V squad.
Yeah, so obviously every player, as you would know, was asked to submit their own pen picks. Now this is fraught with danger, I reckon, for the blokes that aren't taking it too seriously. So I want to know who you think describes himself in this way. I'm going to go first. He says he's got skills like Acker, a body like Whitnell, a temperament of Hall, and a head like Peveril.
Oh, it'd have to be Lockie Dornoff.
It is not. That is the big slop Anthony Ferrado.
Oh, it is too. Yep.
Rightio. I'm going to go this one. You should get this one, I reckon. He's given himself a nickname, and you've got choice of the pen pick or the nickname, of Butch.
Corey Cassidy.
You've got all Bones. Do you go more Bones or Butch?
Oh, I like Bones. I actually prefer Yogurts.
Okay. Why?
Well, I think I'm right in saying he broke his jaw in the grand final.
Yep.
That's right. So they were having the post-game celebrations. Obviously, he didn't want to go to hospital yet, so they didn't win. But you still celebrate playing in the grand final. But so he's got a bit hungry, and I think one of the boys has ducked up to 7-Eleven and got him a couple of those yogurts. Because he couldn't chew. Yeah, the squirt one.
All right, who do you think has described themselves as Nick Maxwell because he excels at guarding the grass?
Oh, wouldn't be Hibbo.
He played forward last year, so he's thrown you a bit here because he played forward in the Big V squad last year.
He played forward. Not Custy.
No, it's gone. Critch.
Oh,
Sam
yeah,
Critchley.
okay, yeah.
Rightio. Who's described themselves as a Rolls Royce?
Oh, that's Hibbo. Sam Hibbins?
No, it's Nick Wood.
Nick Wood. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, he's pretty good at it.
All right, now I've got one you should most likely get, I would have thought. Now.
You've really put me on the spot here, fellas.
We are a little bit. He's pen pick. He's describing himself just a custodian walking through life and handing on the baton.
I really want to say Dornoff again.
Yeah, he's good.
He's got
good,
one.
mate.
Yeah.
Good, mate.
Final one, and then we'll say thanks for coming in. Describe themselves as a medium marking forward.
I think that's me.
It is. He's good.
Pretty down.
Yeah, pretty forward.
You want to give yourself much, do you?
Nah,
Just inspirational captain.
Fly under the
leader.
radar. And, if I get a kick in the game, I might be a bit more forthcoming. But
Burbs, good luck for the rest of the year with Collegians.
Thanks very
and
much.
for the Big V, we look forward to seeing how you
Cheers.
go over in Adelaide as well. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, fellas.
And
Thanks, mate.
we'll
Cheers.
see you again soon. Stick
No
around.
worries.
After the break, we've got the best use of social and all the other best segments on the Tragics.
Anytime is the right time to get fit at Anytime Fitness. Access over 400 gyms across the country 24/7 and discover why more Australians train at Anytime Fitness than any other gym. Go online and register now for your free 7-day pass and feel something better.
Welcome back to the Tragics. Time to wrap up the show with some of our favourite segments. Nick, let's kick it off with best use of social media.
Now, in 2018, we've certainly seen an uptake in celebratory posts over the past 7 or 8 weeks, and on the weekend was no different. Lenny, we had a great post from Caulfield when James Shanahan flew in from the UK to surprise Declan Riley ahead of his 100th game for the Fields. St Mary's Salesian celebrated women's players Grace Barry and Penny Heath, who helped raise $10,000 in the MS Mega Swim on the weekend. And Emily O'Byrne from Kew was celebrating her dog Baloo, who is also the Kew club dog, by replacing the heads of her teammates on the women's team with the head of
Very
her
comical,
dog.
good stuff, yeah.
But my favourite celebratory post on the weekend, and we spoke about it last week, and we've said it before, was the De La Salle boys. They had a fantastic 2-point win on the weekend. They just held on. They were drinking Victor Bravo tinnies straight after the game and posting it and even tagging me in it. So thank you, Tom Humphrey. Congratulations, boys. Best use of social media.
I like to go where the video is. I like a bit of pre-match stuff as well. So I'm liking the stuff from Hawthorn Amateurs this week. John Farrer, 100 games, been a great at the club there, leading goal kicker in their Club 18 teams. I like the lineup. It's very ordered. I like the way he clearly seems to come up by himself,
Yeah.
which is I find very funny. So where's the rest of the team? I'm not sure. Are they part of the lineup or are they, I'm not? I don't know how it's been done. I like how he kicks the ball through the banner and he gets the banner for 100 games. Very junior footy-esque, but
Excellent.
I'm still happy. Any time you get a banner, he's going to get on this segment. The other one I like for Hawthorn Amateurs, if you keep rolling the tape, is the girls. They had their win on the weekend. They're singing this song. Obviously, everyone knows the song. We're a happy team at Hawthorn. Certainly, if you've watched any AFL over the last few years.
Song.
Pretty easy song. It's been played a lot. They've won a lot of games. There's a few girls here, I reckon, don't know the words. Just having a look at some of that vision there. I reckon they're looking at a sheet on the ground or something like that. So, a bit of work to be done there. And I reckon if you're going to be doing the song, we might keep an eye out for this, Nick. If people are filming the song, teammates and people not knowing the words to the song, it's some of my favourite stuff.
Well, you called out Jared Carlson a couple of weeks ago, which was fantastic. But what gets me with Hawthorn, like the AFL team's been successful, but those girls won the flag last year.
That's very
I
true.
had to sing it a few
It
times last year as
might
well.
be new players. But yeah, we're on it. We're looking out for it. Right, quick questions. Let's get into it.
Andrew, how are Q getting away with not having a two-side?
Well, it's a really interesting question. I had a look at this on the weekend when you saw this tweet and this Instagram post, of the girls and guys teams wearing these beautiful jumpers celebrating inclusivity. They gave the full match report, as you can see, for each of their sides, and we've got scores from the women's seniors and reserves. We've got a score from the men's seniors. And I see this score from the men's development. And I was like, oh, okay, interesting. It must be a new team, a development side, followed by their third. So I'm thinking, well, there's no reserve sides. I better check. And I logged onto the VAFA website. And I checked, and I was looking for Division 1 Development League, and I couldn't find it. So it's Division 1 reserves. They're not pulling the wool over anyone's eyes here, kid. I mean, it's called the Twos or the Magoos. I don't think you're telling your mates you've got to play in the development team.
Yeah, no, you're not bragging about that one.
No. Anyway, rightio. Is this the start of a South Mornington rise after they defeated South Melbourne Districts on the weekend?
Well, first of all, congratulations to South Mornington. That is an unbelievable win. South Melbourne District sitting third on the ladder and hadn't lost a game. Sitting second on the ladder. I hope it is the start of something for South Mornington. They've had a tough few years down in Club 18. They're back in Division 4. It's just their second win of the year, and I think they'll get their third on the weekend against Masala, so it could well be the rise for South Mornington. St Francis Xavier, sticking with Division 4, St Francis Xavier versus North Brunswick this weekend. Is it a grand final preview?
Well, certainly not, Nick, because it's way too early to tell. And the reason for that is we've seen it over the years, many previous years, with teams coming from as low as 6 to make their way through to grand finals. Preston Bullants did it. I reckon Canterbury Cobras did it one year as well. So too early to say, just because you're the top 2 in Division 4 that you're going to win a flag. Has Tom Jock been robbed of Mark of the Year?
100%. Tom Jock has taken an absolute screamer on the weekend against St Bede's Mentone Tigers, but the decision has been given for a push from Parksy there.
Yeah.
So maybe Parksy owes Jockey, whatever he would have won for Mark of the Year.
Yeah, it's
Should that have not been a
got
free
cobwebs
kick?
on it, that one, I
No,
reckon.
I'm not about that.
Uh,
Andrew, can Monash Blues go 2 on the trot? They play Ajax this weekend, and they've been belted recently.
They absolutely can. I'm worried about the Jackers. They're not going very well at the moment. Just the 1 win so far. Monash Blues are now joined them on 1 win, albeit they've got 35% as their percentage. But I think the Blues can get another win.
I'd hope to see it. I mean, Ajax, 6 in a row, and they're averaging 115 against.
Yeah, absolutely. Best worst case scenario for the weekend ahead. What have you got?
Not one more person pulls out of the rep squad. We spoke to Burbs earlier. We've had a couple of people pull out recently. We're down to about 35. Hopefully we go in and everyone makes themselves available. You?
My best case is Tom Jock flies again, and if he gets another chance for Scobbs this week. I know he's on the Collingwood VFL list as well. So hopefully he gets another chance to have a crack at Mark of the Year, and the umpires hold the whistle, except to say, that's a mark. Worst case scenario?
Worst case scenario. Now, obviously being at Fitzroy and Williamstown on the weekend, it didn't quite live up to expectation for the top of the table clash. I'm hoping Old Paradians and Whitefriars neither dismantle one another and we get a really close match down in Division 2.
Worst case scenario for me is that I do a calf or a hamstring running around with the girls team, the rep team on Wednesday night, because I'm going to be back out on the field, Nick.
Brilliant
I know you
news.
took a lot of delight. I'm
Brilliant
happy to
news.
announce it here. I'm going to be running around again in Adelaide.
Ah, that's fantastic. And you can see the footage on the screen then from last year down at Mars Stadium. We had you mic'd up. How good was that, though?
Yeah.
It was a great experience.
Good little VAFA media going where it's not gone before.
How is the fitness levels at the moment?
They're shocking. I actually did do my calf in the summer, and it took me, I redid it again about 3 times, so bit of an old man's injury.
We'll tape that up.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been great tonight.
Nah, thank you, Andrew.
We'll see you again next week on The Tragics.